Welcome back. And some news of the day for Friday. There's a couple of surprises in here. There's the bad surprise for Carolina fans from last night's game. Dougie Hamilton, of course, exited the game. Turns out he has a broken fibula. They're going to have surgery. They're going to look around. They're going to see how bad it is. And then they're going to get back to us about how long he's going to be out. So that's not great news for Carolina. And we'll see how things work out for them. Now, the good news is, if there's depth somewhere in the organization that I have faith in with Carolina, it's on the blue line. So it does mean that other defensemen will have to step up a little bit offensively. But I don't think this is something that means they just drop out of the playoffs or anything. So we'll see how long he's going to be out. They'll let us know once the whole surgery thing's gone through. It's just all sounds very, very painful. Wish him the best of luck in his recovery, hopefully quickly. David Backes is on waivers. You know, Backes is an interesting story. So at the start of the year, he came into camp. He understood that he hadn't been good enough the year before. He needed to change things. So he came in better shape. And he had done a lot of edge work during the summer, and he had worked on his speed. And early on, it looked like things were going pretty well. But honestly, there just isn't a spot for him in the Bruins lineup. So they've waived him with the desire to send him down to the American League, and I don't know what is going to happen with Backes from here. I don't know that this is his last year. It very well could be. So it's too bad to see it go this way, but it's been coming for a while. When he was being benched in the finals against St. Louis, he's a healthy scratch. That was, really, really telling of just how far off he had fallen from where he was at the beginning of his career, near the beginning of his career. I remember being a huge fan of David Backes when he was in St. Louis and thinking he had all kinds of potential, and then he came through with it. And at this stage, it does look like he's on his way out. So nobody's touching that contract. So I guarantee you that Sweeney's worked the phones trying to find somebody who will take him, may have even offered to retain some cap. And I don't think there's any market for Backes right now. Matthew Perreault came out yesterday, and I didn't do a video on it because I thought, So he gets an elbow from Jake Virtanen, although if you ask and if you look at different angles, people might say elbow, might say shoulder. And he was mad because player safety didn't do anything about it. And there were Jets fans who said, yeah, it was a clear elbow, and they should do something, and this is a joke, and Department of Player Safety is a joke. And there were Canuck fans who said, it's a clean hit. It's not Virtanen's fault. He's taller than Perreault. If they were the same height, this wouldn't have happened. And I've seen that argument, and it's valid. The idea that sometimes hits that take place look worse than what they would if the guys were the same height. So height difference does make a difference. Perreault has come out today and said he didn't mean it. He was angry, and in the heat of the moment, he said he would slash somebody in the face, and the league had better not discipline him for it. He obviously didn't mean that, and he obviously wasn't going to do that. And Jake Virtanen was asked yesterday about it, and the quote people are using is, he says, hockey's not flowers and roses. He also said in that interview that it was not an intentional elbow. He didn't mean to do it. And it's hockey. Hockey's a violent game. And it's something I had actually thought about doing a video on today, but instead I'm going to talk about it a little bit in here. I have started noticing more and more over the last 2 years, that you'll see an elbow thrown in a game. Think like Bemstrom against Rask, where Bemstrom puts his elbow out, gets Rask in the mask. Perfect spot to give him a concussion. It happens. And so that should have been a penalty. Agreed with everybody who says, should it be a suspension? No, not really. And that's where sometimes I think we as fans go, oh, the league's got to step in. The league will step in when referees miss calls. The league reviews games, and they talk to referees about games, and this is a constant back and forth between the league and officials that we don't see, because they don't want us to be privy to any of this. Guarantee there are people in league offices that go, oh, they missed that. How do you miss that? And they're on the phone right away, like, you've got to get a Jeff. We'll just say Jeff's the name of the referee. Jeff, got to get Jeff in here. And I got to straighten Jeff out. And so these things happen behind the scenes. Now, Perreault, of course, coming out, and I'm not going to do that. And Virtanen coming out and going, well, I didn't mean to do it. And in general, a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing that people are like, oh, you got to suspend for that. No, the league's got to suspend for that. They're penalties. So I think if every time that fan outrage goes, gotta suspend guys for that, we'd be seeing 3 or 4 suspensions a week. I'm not kidding. We would be seeing suspensions all the time, and they would be for elbows, for cross checks. They would be for 2-minute penalties, stuff that I don't even know if it rises to the level of 5 in a game. And it's one of the reasons why I don't talk very much about hits and stuff in reviews. And it's funny because there are times where while I'm watching a game, I go, oh, that's a penalty, and I missed it. And then after the game, I don't talk about it. And then I'll see people in the comments actually like, oh, did you see that? That was terrible. I'm thinking, did I miss something? And then I go and I look it up and I go, no, that was the one I thought was a penalty. So it was a penalty, but I don't think it rises to the level of suspension. And again, it's odd to me how that's the immediate assumption people make, like, oh, the league's got to do this or it's a joke. If the league was suspending players 4 or 5 times a week, that's a problem. And honestly, I don't think we have a major problem in the league right now. I don't, because I remember when we did back in the 80s and 90s when, there were some really nasty hits on a regular basis. And everybody always says, oh, he's talking about Scott Stevens. He wasn't the only one. He was just the most prominent guy doing it. There were tons of them. And, it was not really considered to be that serious. Even head injuries weren't considered to be as serious as we consider them now. So if a guy got hit in the head, it was sort of, he shouldn't have been there. Yeah, well, whatever. And we wouldn't think, oh, well, the head's principal point of contact. That immediately should be a suspension. So I sometimes think we've gone too far. It is a fast game. It is a violent game. These guys don't go out on the ice. They don't like each other very much. Although, last night in the Vancouver game against Winnipeg, I'm thinking it was Tanev. I'm trying to think of who it was behind the net. And if I'd had my phone out and if I could have recorded it, I didn't think this was going to happen, where 2 players are skating towards each other and they slowed down and they actually went into an embrace. It was a Coyotes player and a Canucks player, and I said to him I said, if we actually had a video of that, and if we dubbed in "Endless Love" underneath it would totally fit. She thought that was kind of funny. And that's not what hockey is. It's a violent sport. So yes, I do talk about suspensions. I do agree with some of the predatory hits that we see being dangerous, but I think sometimes as fans, we go too far. And players in the heat of the moment are going to say stuff. Because if you feel like, man, that guy totally cheap-shotted me, even if the video says, probably not, they're still going to be mad about it, and they're still going to say things that later on they'll go, yeah, I was mad in the moment. So it's one of the reasons why when I get mad during a hockey game, I don't make videos. I used to. I don't do that anymore. So, because again, you get mad in the moment, and then after you go, you know what? That was an overreaction. So, think like Andy Bernard in The Office when he puts his fist through the wall and then realizes, I shouldn't have done that. All right, next up. William Karlsson's out week to week, upper body injury for the Vegas Golden Knights. This, of course, came out after my video yesterday, and I thought, well, I can't do a video just on Karlsson being out. They, of course, beat the Senators, and they're on this road trip, so we'll see how this affects them and when it's week to week. It's open-ended as to when he returns. It could be a week, it could be 3, it could be, right? So, buyers and sellers. I thought this was interesting. Apparently, what's being reported on TSN is that the Buffalo Sabres are buyers. Yeah. And Jason Botterill is looking to add, and he may not wait till the deadline. That's a good idea, Jason, because if you wait, you may very well not be in the running for a playoff spot by the deadline. So I find this really, really interesting because the Buffalo Sabres, to me, are right on that borderline right now between being buyers and sellers. So the idea that, hey, we've got to buy, this is very similar to what we're seeing in Vancouver this year. We saw it last summer, though, which is we can't afford to miss the playoffs again. So Buffalo, we really can't afford it. And for Botterill, much like Benning, it may be, this is important for my job security. I need to make sure I'm doing whatever I can to add. and make sure this team is as well armed as possible for that stretch run going up to the trade deadline. So he may not wait for the deadline and shouldn't. Absolutely shouldn't. Any deal that he can make now is a good idea. On the other hand, Drager is reporting, so Darren Drager of TSN is reporting that Minnesota's open for business. He's heard the Wild are open for business, and they may be listening to offers on Matt Dumba. Notice I'm saying may be listening to offers on Matt Dumba. Dumba's been an interesting case this year. He gets a lot of money. He plays a lot of minutes. He takes some shots. He takes about, he's got 115, 120 shots. I know he leads the team in shots, but he's not getting the points and the goals. So, and looking ahead to Seattle, an expansion, they may be looking at his contract and just, they may already be looking at a protection list and go, you know what, if we can beef up the team somewhere else, and if we can move Dumba, I think we'd be willing to do it. And again, it may be to save some money. It may be just that it's not working. Bill Guerin may have decided this isn't working. But it's going to be interesting to watch them around deadline time, especially if they are open to moving a Matt Dumba, who would attract a lot of interest. That could beef up a trade deadline that up until now has looked like it could be a dud. Now, we'll see what Minnesota does, right? But it does look like they're open for business and they're selling. That can change from day to day, though. Luke Schenn's on waivers for Tampa. He knows the drill. He's been on waivers a few times in his career. I will say this for Luke Schenn. He never complains about being waived. And he clears. He clears almost every time. I can't think of a time he's been picked up on waivers. So I would imagine he clears, and I would imagine that the next time Tampa Bay needs a blue liner to get called up, he'll be one of the first guys called up, or the first guy called up. So he's done a good job of playing the supporting role. I know he did well in Vancouver last year. Wish him only the best in Tampa and wherever else he plays in the American League. It's worthy of note from last night's hockey, Jesperi Kotkaniemi is now officially an enforcer. Paling took a scary-looking hit from Robert Haig. And scary-looking hit. And so Kotkaniemi jumped him, and he ended up going down once Haig kind of got his bearings. Haig's a very powerful player. So for Kotkaniemi to jump him, I thought was kind of a courageous thing. I like Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I've said that the whole way through. I understand that offensively it's been a bit underwhelming so far this year, but sophomore jinxes are a thing, and it's his sophomore year, so I don't read a whole lot into it. I still think he's going to develop just fine, and stuff like this will keep him in the lineup. Stuff like this will make a general manager go, well, he's got a lot of heart. So yeah, we'll see how things go for Montreal from here, and whether they're sellers or buyers at the deadline, because there's some pressure in Montreal to make things better as well. And they're winning enough games here and there over the last week for maybe the team to say, we're not completely out of this. Despite that 8-game losing streak, despite these horrible losing streaks, we're not that far out. Maybe we can add something. That being said, they're probably going to end up selling off at least a couple of pieces out of Montreal. LA, just as I was putting this board together, officially released the stadium jerseys. They're ugly. I don't know how else to put it. I will link in the description to this video to the announcement of them. They're ugly. They are exactly what was leaked a couple months ago. The Colorado ones I can get behind, and I can say, all right, they're not perfect, but it's something different, and it's kind of fun. The Kings ones, I'm no idea. I really don't get it. The LA Kings have so many fun things they can do based on their current jerseys, based on past jerseys, colors. They could have done so much with this, and then you see what they did and you go, oh, well, okay. Kind of looks like something I'd make in an EA Sports game, but all right, I guess that's it. So, and with stadium jerseys, I have LA's stadium jersey from the game they had against San Jose. I do not have the silver stadium jersey LA wore. I've seen some listings on eBay. It's really expensive. But that's one that I thought was absolutely gorgeous, where it had the crown on it, the little crown that's in the jersey here, and it's silver and it's all nicely angled off, and I thought it looked great. And this one, it's just, the Kings are like that. It's either absolute home run or it's a horrible, humiliating strikeout on 3 pitches. There doesn't seem to be an in-between with LA Kings jerseys. They're fantastic or they're just sort of there. So yeah, we'll see what the reception is for them. I'll be interested to know if these jerseys sell well. Both the Colorado and the LA one. I think the Colorado one will. Again, I think Colorado one will grow on people. The LA one, I'm not sure. And the weird thing is the silver helmets that the Kings are wearing. Although I will say this, that's kind of cool. The silver helmets are kind of cool, and I think that could be kind of fun. And somewhere somebody in Vegas is going to go, we need to wear gold helmets. This is an idea. So, and I'm talking like the shiny metallic gold here, shiny metallic silver in this case for the Kings. And yeah, it's going to be quite the game, outdoor game, I believe February 15th. So it is upcoming, and we'll see. We'll see how that outdoor game goes and what kind of weather they have for that. It's still too early to state anything about the weather. It's 4 weeks till we get to that game. So yeah, fingers crossed that everything goes well for that. There you go. You guys are all caught up on the news of the day to this stage. We'll see if there's anything further. It's Friday, so you just never know. They might try to push out some news just before they leave for the weekend. But yeah, we got the 3 games tonight. We got 12 games tomorrow and then 4 games on Sunday. And yeah, we then build up to the All-Star break, which starts this coming Thursday. Exciting times. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, I will talk to you again, likely very soon. Thanks for watching.